Welcome to Goonie's World. My name is Goonie, also known as Colin, and I am here, and I am joined by Meanie, also known as Ryan.
Hello, I join.
He joined, and we're also joined by Lunicorn, also known as Lynn.
Hello, hello.
And Johnny Pharaoh, also known as Sean.
Hey, hey, hey. That was supposed to be like Dracula-like or Eastern European. I'm not sure that worked.
Kind of sounded ghosty.
That
Yes, Bela Lugosi-like.
Good.
And we've got a special guest. I don't even know if we need to introduce him.
He looms so large he needs no introduction.
I was going to go the other way. Like, he's not that important. Maybe he can pitch in a couple of times.
He's literally a guy I picked up at a convenience store in the middle of the night many years ago. That's absolutely true. I'm not exaggerating. It is Red Rocket, also known as Joe.
Easiest $5 I ever made.
There's a story behind it, but it's not what you think. Just a matter of people working the graveyard shift story.
It's a glorious story.
Yeah.
If you catch my drift.
Yeah, it's like
a whole lot of subtext.
Yeah.
Right.
As if that wasn't on the nose enough. You know, Goonie tapped the nose. Goonie tapped the nose and Joe came by and punched it. So, anyway, tonight we are playing Cairn, a game by Yohai Gao. We've played it before on the podcast. You don't necessarily need to listen to any of those other ones to enjoy these, but you can. It's in that Mark of the Odd family of games, so it shares the same basic approach as Into the Odd or Mouse Ritter or Electric, Bastion Land, or so many others. The default setting of Cairn is always a dark, mysterious forest, and our dark, mysterious forest is Öreg Erdő. It's a surviving part of the old forest, the primordial forest that once covered the European plain. And there are pathways through it and clearings where people live, but the bulk of it is old-growth forest. It's been untouched by man, and it's home to things much older and stranger. Now, beyond the forest, the land is divided and without a king. It's sometime in the 1520s, somewhere in Hungary. And there are rival monarchs vying for the throne, and their soldiers and their hired mercenaries have ravaged the lands, and even worse than the heretic Turks would, who also have invaded Hungary, and at this moment besiege the distant city of Vienna in Austria. And all this turmoil creates vast movements of people, and they're all caught up in the unrest of these dark times, and famine and disease are widespread. And to make it worse, it's been a cold, sunless year, and so soon either the Habsburg family who dominate Western Europe or the Muslims of the Ottoman Empire, the Turks, they could rule here, or the Black Crown of Transylvania under Prince John Zapolya is another factor. And so it's a terrible place, a terrible time, but Öreg Erdő, the old forest, will be here long after this turmoil is gone. It exists just for itself, and it has secrets of its own. But that's where you are. And you are traveling through this forest, where you have seen strange things and encountered adventure and mystery and a corpse that love built, you might say, in your previous adventures. Now you have turned over your orphan baby owlbear, Meep, to the hooded men. And you had also learned that the Lady Erzsébet, who rules this area theoretically in the town of Zipser, may be involved in some shady occult business. There was some talk of blood being transferred to a guy named Valak, who, what you want to do about that is up to you, but I'm sure it's lurking in the back of your mind. But you did meet a new friend a few days ago on the forest path coming out of the village of Zomaru. And he seemed like a decent fellow, and you've been traveling with him for a few days. So we're going to go ahead and start by letting you all describe yourselves. It's been a while since we've met all your old characters, and we haven't met your new friend at all. But let's go ahead and start with Ryan. And Ryan, you just tell us, kind of what you look like, what your background is, anything you think we need to know to get you right off the bat.
Yes, well, name is Dobrogost. And basically, yeah, so he is he's not super tall, but he's very, very skinny and scrawny, and his skin is oily, and it just he just looks greasy, but it's not because his hair is greasy, because he doesn't have any. He's bald completely, no beard, no nothing. But he's, I think his probably most distinctive feature is that he looks like he's probably 60, 65, but it's just he's really 29. It's just he's been around, man. You know, he's seen some shit. So, and he dresses kind of weird. Would be the other thing I think anyone seeing him for the first time would notice. It just looks like this kind of short, scrawny, bald old guy who wears clothing from like 200 years ago.
What was his...
He was a foundling, I think. Right?
Oh, yeah.
His background was a foundling. He was found in the forest.
Correct.
As a child. Yeah. You might say he's already kind of one with Öreg Erdő. It spawned him. Well, Colin, how about you? Goonie, tell us about your character.
Well, my name is Zabagushka, but everyone calls me Mama Zabagushka. I'm known to all. I'm a half witch, and I have lived in the forest for a long time. I'm 38 years old, and in the twilight of my years, I have also seen much, and I'm wise, and I wear a ghillie suit that I have made myself out of the forest's offerings, and I guess that is about it.
All right. And Lynn, how about you?
I will be playing Barbi the Bonekeeper again tonight. Bonekeepers shepherd the dead into the next life. Our role in the passing between this world and the next is very important. I wear black leather, a hood, and a plague mask. And I've got a long blonde braid coming out the side of my plague mask. I don't ever take it off either. I find creative ways to eat and drink. I invented the straw. Let's see. You may have noticed the gravelly voice. I'm pretty lanky. Got some scars. Pale. Don't really like to bathe, because I don't like to take my plague mask off. But, on the whole, I usually tend to be pretty serene about stuff. Nothing much ruffles me. But sometimes people tell me I'm rude. And there's always insects around me.
Yeah.
And they sing to me.
I remember that.
They do, yeah.
Okay. And finally, your new friend who you've been traveling with for a few days. Not enough to get to know them real well, but you trust them. As much as you can trust anybody you've known for a few days. Joe, could you tell us about your character?
Yeah. I'm Percival Fenix. I'm a Hexenbane, which is kind of a knight and kind of not a knight. So I guess during the day he's not a knight. He's a very lanky fellow with kind of a whispery voice, which is most likely due to the scars on his face and neck. Something terrible has clearly happened. And we're not sure what he's doing out in this forest. Perhaps, like all of us, he's searching for something. Yeah. He has very long, braided hair, and his clothing is nice, sort of well-appointed, but also antique. It's rather old-fashioned. And he has taken a vow of poverty, so he's not even a coin purse on him.
Yeah, he's been eating your guys' rations for like a day and a half now. No, I think he does have his own rations right now, but you will do.
Yes, he has berries and stuff,
Right off the bat, I mean, I think Dobrogost probably it just loves your outfit and fashion sense.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of the kindred spirit in that regard. So
the first hour and 45 minutes of your strolling together to the forest was wrapped up in this. But, so as I say, you had left the village of Zomaru, and you don't like to camp at night here if you don't have to. You've had a very lucky past few days. And, there's a village called Menadake at some point along the path. And sometimes the path just branches, and you're not sure exactly which path to take. And this is a point crawl, so, you don't have to take any path in any specific order. This particular series will be a point crawl. But right now, as you're walking along, it is about mid-afternoon, and it's cool. It's cool and calm. Not cold enough to see your breath, but there's a nip in the air. It's bracing most of the time. But, if you have to spend the night, it'll get cold, and you'll have to light a fire. And then that attracts all kinds of problems. But the branches here are knit pretty close together up above your head, and it blots out most of the sky. The air smells like wet bark and matted leaves, but it also kind of smells like old smoke as well. And as you're walking and you're chatting and you're admiring, the embroidery on Percival's waistcoat, Dobrogost, suddenly a bell rings. There's a bong, a gong. It almost sounds like a church bell, but it's just one gong, once, slow, very heavy. And as far as you can tell, there should be no village close enough that might even have a church that would have a bell. Birds scatter, too, when that bell occurs, and even the insects stop singing to you for a moment as if they're startled by it. There's something about it that has a dolorous quality. It's almost like a foreboding, like it's not so much a call to worship but a warning, a harbinger of doom of some kind. That's definitely the effect it has on you. And then there's quiet.
Did anyone else hear a solitary chime?
I did, and it made the insects stop for a minute. I feel a little disoriented right now, I'm not gonna lie. I'm so used to their soothing song.
Well, yes, that's the song we never hear. It's always you.
I don't know, Mama. I think sometimes you just pretend that you don't hear it.
What? Huh? I don't hear much in my 38 years, but...
Yes, that could be a contributing factor. I hadn't thought of that.
But I did hear
I miss Meep.
I did hear a bell, and...
Yes.
It was foreboding.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost...
Quite foreboding.
It's almost as if the whole forest must have heard it. It almost seemed to come from everywhere all at once. But very slowly, the birds return and the insects begin their incessant musical dialogue in your head once again. And that's all that happens at the moment. But it's ominous, obviously.
And it's kind of hard to tell, what direction it came from?
Well, it's kind of hard to tell. It's sound has been odd here today. Sound seems to carry too far and yet be muffled at the same time. The forest plays tricks on you all the time, but if you had to guess, you'd say it came from the northeast, which, as it happens, just happens to be more or less the direction that the path is going.
Yes, we could keep going this direction, and maybe we'll find the source of it. I thought maybe it's trying to communicate. If we had a bell to answer it, we could, but I don't have any in my possession. And if we don't, we could just say, bong, and maybe we'll get a response.
I think that's a great idea. I can maybe rattle my chain.
Oh, I don't think that will do. Only a loud, clear bong
Okay.
must echo throughout the forest if we are to communicate.
Let's do it.
Who has the most echoey?
We should all do it together. On the count of 3, Mama.
Dobrogost.
But wait.
Do you agree with this?
But wait. Yes, I don't think this is a good idea. I thought when I hear bell, it was just calling us for dinner. And if we bong together loudly, then someone will think that we are inviting them to dinner.
Oh, we wouldn't want to be rude because we don't have dinner. So, why don't we just walk just a bit further and see if we can see what might be the source.
All right. Does this sound all right with you, Percival?
Yes, I agree with Dobrogost. I was hoping perhaps if we find the bong, we might find some dinner.
That's usually the order you want it in, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, hit the bong,
Okay, well,
then the dinner.
looking for the bong, you progress deeper and deeper into the forest. Now, as I said, the forest had been behaving strangely today with the sound. Every now and then you look down and you think there's footprints in the mud or some scattered leaves, but when you go to point it out to someone, they're gone. Ravens seem to be out in profusion today, and they normally don't come down below here, and they try to get out into the empty spaces and look for carcasses and whatnot, but they're just lining the branches, staring down at you. They're somber, they're quiet. The whole mood has been odd ever since the tolling of that great bell. Now the path curves, and then there's a straightaway for a while. And the path is almost never perfectly straight, and it's not perfect. And you have a good line of sight, which is rare. And about 30 yards up ahead of you, though, the path is blocked by a trench. Literally a trench. It's a man-made trench. Like a defensive trench, if you've seen battlements. Somebody's thrown up a trench here across the path. You know it can't go very far into the forest on either side. There's so many trees that, the roots alone would prevent, any kind of easy digging of a trench. But there's one blocking the way. You could go around it. Just by going through the forest. You could even... It doesn't seem to be guarded by anyone unless someone's hiding down in there. Because there's a bit of a berm of earth, right? When it's up on this side. And that's what you see. As I say, it's about 30 yards away. You can approach how you like, but you won't hear anything, though. There's no murmuring or sound of anyone hiding, and you guys haven't been making a ton of noise. It looks pretty deserted. What do you want to do?
Perhaps we should throw some stones
Yes.
and see if it rattles anyone.
Might bang off of someone's helmet or something. Someone
Yes.
hiding down in the trench waiting to pop up at us.
Yes.
Yes, well, I gather stones and throw them into the trench.
Any other ideas?
No ideas.
All right.
Only this is quite
Only one idea.
quite sufficient.
Let's take a bit to gather some appropriate stones that you can hurl that far. I don't know if you can throw a stone 30 freaking yards. You'll probably have to walk up the path a little bit.
Yeah.
In my younger days, I had quite the arm. I was on all of the sports ball teams.
Oh, well, there you go. So, perfect. Well, you guys gather some appropriate stones, and why not? You let them fly, hesitantly at first. But after, a good dozen or so stones go into the trench, at least one of those stones, though, there's going to be a little metal bonk. I know you all pictured hitting a helmet. You hit something made of metal in there. because you threw a lot of stones in. But no one has screamed and no one's popped up. And that's what happens.
I heard the clang of metal, the bonk of something metallic, and, well, why don't we cautiously move forward? I'm going to get down on my belly and crawl.
So I was going to suggest the same.
Peek over that little lip.
When you say suggest the same, you're going to do it too? Or you're going to suggest that she should crawl?
No, I was also going to crawl and peek over.
Okay.
We could do it in separate points.
Yes.
Is there anyone not crawling? Because that would be kind of funny.
Yes. So, as you may or may not remember, Dobrogost is possessed by a mischievous spirit.
He is.
Which will occasionally take control. And as everyone is crawling up this berm, he's then going to, just as they're about to get to the top, he's going to run up the top screaming and waving his arms.
Well, you will cringe as he does this, spoiling your otherwise silent and stealthy approach. But when you get to the top, you look down in and you see all your stones in the trench. And nothing happens to Dobrogost, so you guys, I imagine, stand up and look over as well. And
Dobrogost is continuing to scream and wave his arms even though nothing is happening.
Inside, you guys look down into an empty trench, and there's nothing on the other side except the path does turn. But there's a broken shovel in there, and that's what the stone hit that made the metal clang. But also, there's a disturbed swath of earth on the other side of the trench, the opposite from you, that's running from the bottom of it all the way up the opposite side. And there's some broken roots and rope fibers. What it really looks like is that something very heavy was buried down there and was found, maybe accidentally, and dragged up the other side. You can kind of see the huge drag mark where they dragged something big and heavy, almost maybe it even potentially round or circular from the drag mark. Anyway, that's what you see. And beyond that, on the other side of the trench, there's a weird mound or a pile that you'd have to go closer to look at more carefully. And that's what you find.
Well, the shovel is like useless. It's broken.
Well, you could use it as an improvised weapon for sure. You know, it's got enough of the handle you could like wave it around, stab somebody in the face with it. I mean, it would hurt, I guess. And you could use it like a spade, but so it's not completely useless.
Did shovel hitting metal make the bong initially? I'm so confused.
I think that's logical. Oh, the original bong, I don't know about that.
No, you don't think that. It looks like this has been a couple days at least. Although, from the broken roots, though, I mean, you can tell from the freshness of the broken roots. And the bits of rope aren't, super old, but they've got some mud on them. They've had some water damage. The metal bong was just from the bonk of the rock hitting the shovel.
I believe the bong that we heard, my friend, came from elsewhere. This doesn't appear to be the bong hole.
No, this is a bunk hole. Yes, and I think it is no great chore for us to get over this trench. I want to look at that mound.
And it is no great chore to get over that trench. There's not a bunch of, angry Huns defending it or anything like that. So you climb down and climb up the other side. But it was a good strategic place to block, to block a path if you had to. Because there's, a big bend in the path. But that mound is noteworthy. It's a point of interest for sure. And as you approach it, you see it's a cairn, actually, is what it is. It's just so old that a lot of vegetation has grown up over it. It's a stack of stones. And it's about 6.5 to 7 feet long, maybe about 4 feet wide. This mound of stones. It could well be a burial marker of some kind. But sometimes they use... In the olden times, they used to use great big stones to mark the boundaries between counties and whatnot, but those are usually great big single stones that people would repurpose. This is a grave, and obviously it's not been disturbed. Even by the people who were digging the trench didn't disturb this. Do you want to disturb it?
The dead should remain at rest.
If it's just a burial, I see no point in disturbing it, but if it contained treasure, now that would be something else, but... Oh, I think this person that was digging this trench, if he had any inkling of treasure, he would have surely disturbed this cairn.
I want to, totally innocently, out of respect for the dead, basically, you said it's, covered in, branches and dirt and stuff. I want to try to start just, brushing it, trying to clean it off.
Sure.
And accidentally open it up and so we can see what's in it.
What might happen, who knows?
Well, I don't think you can accidentally on purpose do it unless you say you do. But if you would very much like to accidentally on purpose knock off, some stones and hope they come tumbling down like someone trying to stack cans at a Walmart in a terrible, catastrophe, you could try to make that happen. And if you don't want your friends to know you're trying to do that, then you should make a roll. But if you just...
what roll would that be?
I think we almost have to call this a dexterity roll. And technically, we don't even roll unless you're at risk, but you're at risk of them finding out. So,
right. And I have excellent dexterity.
All right, that's great. We want to roll equal to or less than.
Well, I rolled a 3.
Well, that's great. Well, it appears to you guys that he's attempting to be reverent and clear this cairn of debris, this burial cairn. Percival knocks the whole thing over. Now it's not quite as dramatic as a stack of cans at a Walmart falling. But...
Oh, no.
Oh, my. Oh.
But
terribly sorry.
But certainly, beneath that, a grave is revealed. And now it's a matter of having to clear... in for a penny, in for a pound. Now, if you really want to see, you got to clear away, some of the base level of stones. But
we should put these stones back immediately.
Oh, we will, but it's already disturbed, and I think we should just make sure there's nothing untoward happening at this grave. We've seen our share of horrible incidents in the past.
If you'd like to take a look, you got to remove a few stones, like I say, and you could be doing this while, Barbi is objecting.
I want to point out, too, that, as we say, we're going to put the stones back after we look, but I don't think any of us are going to remember the exact order they're supposed to go back in.
Yeah.
They're not numbered or labeled.
Yeah. And as you know, it has to be the exact order or the... Yeah.
And if digging is involved, I probably will use that broken shovel.
All right. Well, you don't need to really dig, but you can pry up some of the base stones, right? And there's some roly-polies on it, but it's a very shallow grave here, and it's very old. I mean, the skeleton is ivory-colored and brittle. It wears a chainmail shirt and has a pot helm, but they're both orange and green with age, and they're useless. Interestingly, there is a halberd blade that still looks semi-serviceable, like it might do slightly reduced damage if you were to remount it on a halberd. It's no great treasure, but it's not useless. But there's no halberd staff in here. It would be too big for a typical grave anyway, but this warrior was buried with the blade. And but it's essentially useless as treasure. But whoever was buried here, from the pot helm itself, I mean, this is, from the foundation of the Kingdom of Hungary. I mean, like 1,000 years ago. We don't really we don't know a lot about the Kingdom of Hungary, and at least I didn't learn a lot about it growing up. But it was like 1,000-year kingdom that died just about the time this game is set. So, anyway, this guy's 1,000 years old, man. This is old. The forest has washed over this grave for a long time till you disturbed it.
It was an accident.
Yeah, it was an accident. It was just an accident.
Totally.
Well, do you guys want to try to re-Cairn it up?
So this pot helm is it too rusty or?
Well, I mean, I don't know that it's completely useless, but I think rusty metal gets brittle, doesn't it? So
yeah.
You could wear it. I tell you what, you could wear it and it would work one time as armor 1, and then it would break. So it's not completely useless.
Yeah, I mean,
you
might
want to take
as well.
it? All right. You take the helmet. Let's say it's like a pot helm, it's like the top of a bullet. All right.
Yeah.
Kind of pointy on top. So there you go. You found that, and it roughly fits your little old head, because people were smaller back then. And actually, there were giants in those days. But they say there's a rumor actually that there are Nephilim bones in this forest somewhere. It is a rumor. So keep your ear out for clown horns. Well, that's an in-joke for our listeners. But anyway, just then, bong, not a clown horn, but a repeat, a second bell. And this time it's louder, and it almost shakes the ground. And then in the distance, as it's dying out, you can hear maybe a few screams coming from further up the path. Now, I will leave it to you. Once again, the birds scatter. It's like just far enough away that you might not hear one person screaming from there, but a whole bunch of them, like there are people over there, you realize now, and they might not have heard Dobrogost screaming, but now they sure heard this bell. And it startled you again. As I say, I mean, the ground almost shaked.
It almost rattled my remaining teeth out of my mouth.
Yeah. Almost
Ow.
shake it up. Shaking. But then it dies out again. And aside from a bit of residual wailing, you don't hear any more cries. But now, you're forewarned that there are people, if not a settlement and a camp or something, further up the path, who also heard that bell.
Let us go to the Bonging.
The Bonging. There's your... Yeah. Yeah. All right, so you guys go forward down the path. I mean, you haven't found a branch off of it yet. But past the trench, obviously, as I said, there was a bend, right? You couldn't get a long line of sight. And do you boldly walk out, or do you send someone forward to scout out the situation, or what do you guys do?
One sec. I had cat aggro, and funnily enough, I had cat aggro last time we played Cairn too.
Your cat does not like Cairn.
Barbi is going to stay, regardless of what everybody else is doing. Barbie's going to stay and restack the cairn.
It is. I guess that is your duty. Luckily, it's not like super far away. It's still within shouting distance. It's just around a bend.
Yeah, I think...
Come on, Barbie. Let's go party.
Come on, Barbie. Let's go party. I think we should come cautiously sneak around the bend.
Okay. All right. We'll assume you're in a group. And you do the Scooby-Doo peek around a bend as best you're able.
Yeah, I got that ghillie suit, so I think maybe even I should go ahead, and I'm going to get down on my belly again.
Okay.
It hurts my joints, but it's worth it.
Now, luckily, there's enough residual forest noise that you know no one has to roll to be completely silent. But you do go up ahead of everybody else, and you get the first look. But when you look in, there's a clearing here. It's kind of an unexpected clearing, and there's a burned wooden chapel. It's collapsed. Yeah, but it looks like it's burned within the last fortnight or so, and you do recall there's a taint of old smoke on the air over the last few days. But it had a good stone foundation that's still intact, and one or two sort of shadow walls are still standing, to where there's a bit of an upper story where you can it's at least a shelter from the wind. And there's a freshly dug defensive trench, just like the one that you crawled over, around this clearing. And there are two paths out of the clearing, too, on the other side, on the far side of that chapel. We can worry about that when you want to leave the clearing. But beside the chapel stands a crude timber frame. It's been newly erected, obviously, and hanging from it is an old iron bell. It is green with age and is streaked with damp soil. It looks like it's just been dug up out of the ground. Now, more alarmingly, there are about a half dozen ragged-looking soldiers here. They don't wear uniforms per se. We're kind of before the point of uniformed armies, but they all wear Habsburg black. Now, we won't get into the politics of it, but the Habsburg is a dynasty. You know, they've got parts of Spain and Germany, and they're huge, but these would just be mercenaries working on their behalf. The Grand Duke of Austria has a claim, a semi-legit claim to be the actual king of Hungary, and that's why they're here. But most of the time, these mercenaries just run around bullying peasants, and these guys seem like that type. Every now and then you'll see one of them with the double-headed eagle on a belt buckle or a button or something like that. And they carry messers, which are like short, one-edged stabbing swords. And they have these battered Burgonet-style helmets. This one's like a little visor over the eyes, almost like a ball cap, right? With kind of a mohawk-like ridge going up above it and some cheek pieces. But they're not wearing any armor on their bodies. And one of them is clearly an officer. He's wearing a long, buff leather coat. It's just dirty white. And his helmet's in better shape. And he wears a falchion, like a great big curved sword, very popular among Austrian officers. And he's missing a glove. There's that little detail. And he seems tense. All of them seem tense. Most of them are staring at the bell, which is still swaying ever so slightly. And finally, there is a woman here, a peasant woman. She is tied up, she's bound, and she's crouching against the edge of the chapel, but she almost has a triumphant or expectant look on her face. And finally, there's a freshly dug grave, very hastily dug grave, just dug, maybe yesterday. And that's it. That's the tableau that you see. And they don't see you. You see all this. You haven't made enough noise. So that's what you see. You can make of that what you will. Now, there's no reason to believe that these soldiers would viciously attack you on sight, right? But they do have a reputation as being sort of bullies. I will also add 2 of them had crossbows. That could be important. You do see firearms, but they're not really widely distributed, and these guys seem poorly equipped. That's all I have to say.
Anybody, near the bell, that would be actively ringing the bell?
No, there's nobody standing right by it. In fact, they look like they're in attitude. They were in attitudes of repose, right? You can see they've been here for a couple of days. There's some bedrolls out and box, camp box and whatnot, and they're all looking up, and looking in that direction as if they've been startled by it.
So, like, it's ringing on its own, perhaps?
Guess you might have to go ask them. I don't know.
Yeah. And remind me, how many of these guys were there?
Well, there were 6 rank-and-file soldiers, and there's one who's probably a corporal, a low-ranking officer in their system. They're probably a foraging party, otherwise they wouldn't be out here. What they're probably doing is camping here and going out to nearby villages and taking all their shit. That seems to be what they normally do.
Okay. Well, maybe one of us should go into the clearing and ask. And if they get violent, I have a spell that could allow us to flee, perhaps.
Before you move into the clearing, as you've clearly volunteered to do, I would like to use my own spell book, because I have disassemble.
Yeah, you can disassemble parts of your body and
any of my body.
No, disassemble.
Yeah, it can be removed, and I can still control them. So I'm gonna try to shoot my left hand over there and try to untie this woman.
Yeah, that's not a terrible idea. Now, and I don't see us shooting through the air either. I think it's got to be totally like Bruce Campbell hand crawling across the forest floor, right? Like a spider.
Right,
yeah. And so, you all might not have known that your friend Percival could do this, but slightly disturbing as his hand detaches and falls to the forest floor and scuttles off in the direction of the woman.
Yeah, that spell is just, it could be misused. And I'm expecting it.
It has.
Yeah, but every time it happens, your mace gets so hot you have to just let go of it. Yeah, and it does gets real warm there in its case for a minute. Okay, so the hand is sneaking towards the woman, and so Mama Zabagushka is going to go alone. Is everybody cool with that, or is Dobrogost going to run in screaming at them?
I am not cool.
I have a mechanics question.
Okay, hopefully I can answer it. I am the warden.
Well, now this says spell books must be held in both hands, and
it's true. So
reading its contents aloud, but I'm actually removing a hand.
Well, you hold it with both hands and you read both contents aloud, and then one hand kind of falls off and it gets heavier in the other hand, and but you're able to recover and you don't drop the book. But yes, it's a good point. But that's just enough to where your hand falls off. You can read it. Boom.
We're glad we have a generous GM, and one that didn't just say that, no, you can't ever cast any spells.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't have to point that out either.
Well, and I wouldn't consider that a generous GM. I would consider that an asshole GM. Nope, sorry, you can't. Technically speaking, your hands, you have to hold in both hands. So, I would never do that. But anyway, though, so assuming Dobrogost does not get possessed by his mischievous spirit and run in there naked or something, no.
Not this time. Okay. There's too many armed.
Yeah. Funny how that mischievous spirit,
that would allow us, that was a distraction.
That's true. We can save that in reserve. Yeah, naked Dobrogost case. Yeah.
Don't talk about that wood when I'm naked.
I think Mama Zabagushka is going to go, while the hand is crawling, I'm going to go out there, just an old lady wondering what the commotion is. And,
Would you like me to accompany you, Mama?
no, you stay here where it's safe.
You're probably not
Okay,
quite done stacking that cairn yet, anyway.
You
I
keep
mean,
I'll
stacking.
just sit here and listen to the sounds of the insects singing.
Yeah, I'm going to try to cause a distraction while that hand tries to untie the female.
Okay. Well, you walk out into the clearing within view of the Habsburg soldiers then, and it startles them, A couple of them, one of them leaps to the crossbow, one of them scatters backwards. Once they realize it's just a little old lady, they seem to relax a little bit more. The one in the white coat stalks over to you, and of course, you would have to get through the trench, right, to stand right next to him, but because they've dug a trench around the clearing, remember. But you're facing each other now from across the clearing, and he goes, "What brings you here, old woman?"
It was the bell that tolled. It called me.
You say it called you. Now the men start to look like they're getting nervous. Two of the guys pick up their crossbows. One of them points it more or less directly at you. Mm-hmm. She called us. She's wrapped up in this, says another. And then suddenly the woman against the wall screams at the top of her voice. They all look back over at her, but then she kicks her feet for a minute before she's bound, and then she calms down and gets a pensive look on her face, bites her lip, and is quiet. It seems that she's been startled by the hand at first, but now realizes what is happening. She probably thinks you're a witch.
That was totally an accident. I didn't mean to touch you there.
It got a little familiar. That hand did not seek consent before it touched her body. Yeah. But she realizes now that it's for, for the best. Anyway, so that interrupts for a second. But they seem just more nervous than you guys are. These soldiers. They think that you're claiming. If you say it has brought you.
Yes, I heard it ring out, and I came. I was drawn here. What has you so jumpy, my friends?
Shouldn't you know who are so wise in the ways of bells, you who are drawn to them?
Well, this is a new bell, isn't it? Well, it's old, I see, but its ringing has not rung, and many, many years, I believe.
If you're going to talk, you'd better come closer. Are you alone?
I am all alone.
Well, then, gallantly, almost, he steps down into the trench and helps you across, being an old lady. And his men are nervous, though. They back up away from you. And he gives them a look as if to say, hey, if she's a witch, better we've got her over here and not on the other side of the trench where we can't get to her. Meanwhile, the rest of you guys, just because action's happening, if one of you gets seized by, then interrupt. Otherwise, I'm going to assume you're hiding now and trying to keep within eye and earshot of what's going on. But no, we dug up the bell. We dug it up almost a fortnight ago, and we're stationed here. It was an accident. We found it, but we brought it up and hung it. We found it. It scared the peasants in Menendek. I shouldn't laugh. When we rang it. But then, this morning, it rang by itself. Mm-hmm. It also rang yesterday before we... And he glances over at that grave that's newly dug, and he says, before somebody died. And he glances nervously over at the woman who, if she is unbound by now, she is still crouching against the wall and hasn't immediately gotten up and run off or anything. She may be waiting for a good moment.
What are you doing here in these woods?
It's a foraging party, old woman, and we're not obliged to explain our presence to you. We are with it. We are in the corps of Lady Erzabet out of Zipser. We are here foraging.
Oh, from Zipser. Well, do you know whose woods these are?
They're old woods. No one
Yes.
owns these woods. We know that. We show a modicum of respect to the wood, but we will not be denied in our mission.
Well, I think there are many beings who could claim these woods as their own. Perhaps you shouldn't be digging in the earth.
I follow orders is what I do, and you never know when the agents of the Black Crown will come storming through. You never know when the Turks will move out of the Central Plains and into the forest. No, you leave the warfare to us. You leave the digging to us. No. What could be more natural than digging in the earth anyway? I've wasted enough time on you, old woman. If you don't have special knowledge about this bell, then be on your way.
Well, let Mama Zabagushka examine this bell. I might be able to tell you some things.
Well, meanwhile, back in the forest, what are the rest of you guys doing? Anything?
Not. I mean, Dobrogost is kind of watching with interest at what's going on, just kind of trying to stay hidden. And from our angle, do we have a better view of the woman?
Yeah.
Can we tell whether she has unbound herself?
Yeah, and I guess that probably also Percival will be able to tell if his own hand had finished unbinding her.
I was going to say I wanted to cut to
yeah.
shot of my hand like crawling back, and it stops and like flips off
it does. It flips off that corporal and crawls back and crawls up your leg. And you want to go straight back to your wrist, or do you have something you'd like it to do first? Or no? Okay, all right, okay. And it reattaches itself, but you see the woman. Yeah, you feel confident that she has been, but for whatever reason, as I say, maybe she's waiting for the right moment. Doesn't feel like being chased through the woods, whatever. But she has not run yet. She's a peasant woman. She's not super old, maybe about the equivalent of 30, in our world. So what did I make her, like 12? But no. I've read that people lived longer back then than we think they did, but poor people didn't. But people with good diets still lived many years back then. However, now this is a younger woman, and old enough to maybe had a kid or two, but certainly not an old peasant lady. And she's watching them warily. But as I say, when you first saw her, she had like a almost smug look on her face. Like she was happy about the way these guys feel. She knows something they don't. That type of thing. So meanwhile, they do have no objection to you going and looking at the bell, although you can't, actually reach it to ring it yourself. You would have to have one of these tall men do it, right? Or get a big stick or something like that, which you could do. There's sticks all over. But as I say, it's old. It's obviously old. It doesn't even look like it should ring out, right? And yeah.
Well, I didn't want to interrupt. I just wanted to alert you that as soon as you were done, I had a question.
Oh, okay, sure.
But
go ahead.
Since you stopped anyway, how far away is the bell from where we're hidden?
A little less than 30 yards, so let's say 20 yards.
Okay, so that's slingable distance.
Yes.
If I wanted to sling a stone at it,
totally.
to ring it,
totally,
subtly,
totally.
Totally, okay,
yeah, and it might not like make a really loud full-on ding. I don't know if a sling stone would have, but it would definitely, yeah. But you never know what'll happen if you touch it with anything.
Well, regardless of, I obviously don't know what he's planning. I was going to. Why don't you let Mama Zabagushka have a seat upon your shoulders, so I may reach this bell and have a good look at it?
There's no need to ring it.
Well, I didn't say I was going to ring it. Just have a look. I might be able to tell you the make of it, and tell you if there's any old style that it could belong to, or?
You're quite presumptuous to think I will let you crawl upon my back, woman.
Oh, I don't weigh much at all. I'm just an old hag. Let me hag ride you.
You, Gustav, get over here. He calls one of the men over and hoists you up onto some schmuck's shoulders, And,
Whee!
Yeah. And,
how
you
tall
can get a close
I am.
look at it. Meanwhile, do you want to shoot the thing with your sling?
I was going to wait for Mama Zabagushka, because that's kind of the mischievous spirit again. Going to wait for Mama Zabagushka to kind of be examining it, and then just try to startle the shit out of her by, digging it with a stone.
Well, you ding it with the stone, and the second you get up close in your face, you're peering up into it, right? And it's so encrusted, it shouldn't even ring out. I mean, it should not function as a bell. But suddenly the stone does hit, thunk, and there's a dull ring. It's not enough to move, enough, but it pings out, and it alerts all the guards. Again, are now on alert. They're shocked. Half of them are looking at the bell. Half of them are looking around wildly at the edge of the forest, and but Gustav, who's the guy who's carrying you on his back, he's also startled by it, and he puts you here. He almost falls to the ground and puts you off his back and stands up and is shaking like he's got the heebie-jeebies, like he's not gonna be able to, something about you being on his back and that thing, it just startled him too much.
I've given you weak knees, I see.
Meanwhile, Percival, you can see now from where if you can see someone, they can see you. But if only they knew where to look. But this woman who had been tied up, she's been looking around for a while, and maybe she followed with her eyes the disrupted leaves as your hand crawled back. But she managed to make eye contact with you. And with her eyes, she's darting them to one side as if she's trying to indicate the back of the chapel or the other side, that you guys don't have a line of sight to yet because, maybe she was, hey, I'll meet you back there, big boy. But she's trying to bring your attention to something over there.
Is from where we are, is it possible to skirt around through these woods and reach the back?
Sure, you'd have to go a little...
The hand that just reattached. I'm going to give her a little silly little finger wave. And then I'm going to try to...
Okay.
With my crossbow ready, I'm going to try to start inching my way back.
And I'll assume you're quiet and careful, and there's not putting yourself at risk, and there's no need to roll at the moment. Plus, they're all distracted by, what's happening, So you do carefully, quietly, not putting yourself at risk, make it around to where you can see the other side, the back side, as it were, of the ruined chapel. I had earlier said there were two paths leading out of the clearing here. You're back on the side where those other paths are, going to the northeast and the southeast. But on the back of the chapel, there's a great big stone. You remember how I said sometimes they'd make border stones out of great big, glacial rocks that just happen to have been here forever? And there is one such laying here. It's covered with symbols. That much is obvious. Now, they're weather-worn, obviously. It's a language you don't know how to read. But you think someone who is born in this land, who has knowledge of the old ways, maybe even one of your friends, might be able to read what's on that stone. And clearly the woman wanted your attention drawn to it as if it has some part of this mystery. However, a mystery it must remain until next time, when we'll find out for whom the bell tolls.
Hey everyone, if you like this podcast, consider leaving us a good rating and/or review, and subscribe to us wherever you can. We've got a YouTube channel and a Discord server, as well as merchandise available at TeePublic. Find our website at GooniesWorldPodcast.com. Email us at GooniesWorldPodcast@gmail.com. You can find all those links and more at linktree/GooniesWorld. Thanks for listening.